My name is Gabriella and I received the Holy Spirit. I was just out of control. I was taking it while I was at work and taking it to the point where it was making my nose bleed. I grew up in a household that was very violent. My dad was an alcoholic, and so he would always beat my mum. So you can imagine that from a young age, I started to witness my mum and dad fight from the age of 6 up until the age of 13. And always there would be 2 police cars that used to come and they would take my dad away. So this left me feeling really angry inside, really, really angry and useless because I felt like I couldn't do anything. At secondary school, that's when I started to go around with my cousin and I got introduced to older friends. And I began smoking, and then from the smoking, I started to take weed. But then after a while, this didn't seem to affect me the way that I wanted to, so we started to go to clubs. And as I started to go to clubs, I started to take ecstasy and acid. And I felt great when I took those. I felt like, I was confident, I was high, forgot all my problems. But then when I go home, I'd feel low, I'd feel lonely, I'd feel depressed, and it really affected my life. During this time, I met my first boyfriend and I had a relationship with him. And the first 2 years, it was great. And then after that, he became very jealous. So he began to become very violent, physical abuse, mental abuse, and this went on for a good couple of years. Though we had a child together, I had to end the relationship for the safety of myself and the safety of my child. I started working, and at work I met a work colleague. She was the one who introduced me to cocaine. And at first I thought that, okay, this is fun, this is good. And then it went from just one Friday to long weekends. From long weekends, taking it even when I was at work. That's how bad it got. It was so addictive, and taking it to the point where it was making my nose bleed. For me, this was the worst point of my life because I was in an abusive relationship to the point where the person used to tell me that I was ugly, and I started to not eat. I became anorexic. I just felt that my life wasn't good enough and that I really wasn't going anywhere. One day my aunt received a city newspaper through her door, and she passed that to my mum, and my mum read it and decided that we were all going to go. And the event that we went to was called the Day of Power. That's when I started to really see changes in my life because I had peace, I was able to sleep well at night. But because we lived so far away, I didn't attend the church again, but my mum used to take my son. Over a period of a month, when they started to attend, I started to see changes inside of them. I started to see that my mum was less angry. I started to see that my son's health had really improved, and that's when I decided to attend the church. During this time, I would also do the addiction services as well, and within 2 months, I was completely free. It was during the Sunday morning services when the bishop was speaking about the Holy Spirit, and he said that if you don't have the Holy Spirit, you don't have God's seal inside of you. And that's when I had the desire to really seek the Holy Spirit. So I had to let go of those bad influences, and I had to really dig deep within myself and ask God to forgive me for all the things that I had done wrong. I had to forgive my ex-partner for the way that he treated me. And the most hardest one was to forgive my dad, because he put us through so much pain, so much difficulty, that I had to really dig deep to forgive him for everything that he did. So after one of the services, we had a mini night vigil, and it was during that night vigil when I received the Holy Spirit. I just felt such a joy inside of me, such a peace and such an assurance inside of me that God was with me. I remember going home that time and I just saw people differently. It's like they weren't just people anymore. I wanted to hug them, I wanted to speak to them. I saw everything different. It's like my eyes were open for the first time. Today I am a completely different person. I don't have anorexia anymore. I'm not addicted to any drugs. I don't have a low self-esteem anymore. I'm a confident person, and I am married to a man of God. I think completely different today from how I used to think. I can achieve anything with my faith. I can, move forward with my life. My family are united now. So there's so many things that have changed within my life. And I just know that with God, I can achieve anything. There's no barrier, there's no limit when you have Him.